The courtroom in Montgomery County, Alabama, was a cathedral of silence, its air thick with the weight of authority. James Caldwell, a 62-year-old Black Army veteran, stood tall despite the ache in his right leg, a scar from Desert Storm that never let him forget. His fingers brushed the Purple Heart pinned to his dress blues, a small, gleaming testament to a life of sacrifice. Judge Henry Thornton, perched above like a king on a throne, fixed his gaze on James. "Remove that medal, Mr. Caldwell," he barked, his voice slicing through the quiet, "or I'll hold you in contempt." The room held its breath. James lifted his chin, eyes steady. "I bled for this medal," he said, his voice low but unyielding. 20 years before you ever wore that robe." No one stirred. The words landed like a grenade, their echo seismic. James hadn't come to fight. He'd come to serve, summoned as a juror to this stone fortress of justice. He'd almost declined, his leg throbbed with every step, and he could have claimed exemption. But duty, etched into his bones, pulled him here. That morning, under a sky bruised purple, he'd shaved with precision, pressed his uniform until the seams were sharp, and pinned his medals with care. To James, wearing his blues wasn't defiance. It was reverence for the system he'd sworn to protect. He didn't know it would spark a reckoning. Inside the courthouse, James's footsteps echoed, a soldier's cadence unbroken by age or injury. Heads turned, some with respect, others with unease. In the jury room, he sat ramrod straight, watching as black candidates were dismissed with flimsy excuses, vague biases, minor infractions. It was a purge cloaked in politeness. Then a bailiff, smug and red-faced, approached. "Take off that costume," he sneered. James's reply was calm, commanding. "This isn't a costume. These are my service medals, earned over 32 years. The bailiff scoffed, but James moved on, filing the insult away. Courtroom 4A was Judge Thornton's domain, a man who ruled with an iron grip, his 15-year tenure marked by harsh sentences for the poor and minorities. His eyes locked on James's medals, narrowing with contempt. The case was Minora, young black man, Michael Turner, accused of shoplifting with no evidence but a manager's word. Yet the prosecutor pushed for maximum punishment, citing a juvenile record. James saw the pattern. It mirrored his own son's arrest years ago for fitting a description. During jury selection, James answered with clarity. "I swore to defend justice for all Americans." That oath didn't expire. They picked him, one of 2 black jurors on a mostly white panel, thinking him a token. They were wrong. Whispers of Sarah Bennett, a defense attorney and civil rights scholar, began to surface. She'd long warned that justice without equity was just tradition with a gavel. James, by refusing to remove his medal, had unknowingly lit a fuse. In the hallway, he overheard Thornton's voice, low and venomous. "These people need to learn their place. This isn't the 60s. The judge's laugh was smug, his words a confirmation of hierarchy. James's knuckles tightened on his cane, but he stayed still, storing the truth. The next day, Thornton summoned James to his chambers, a room of leather and power. "Your medals are inappropriate," Thornton snapped. They could sway the jury. James stood at parade rest, unshaken. "With respect, Your Honor, there's no rule against wearing military decorations. I wear them to honor my oath to the Constitution." Thornton's jaw clenched. "My courtroom, my rules. Remove them tomorrow, or face consequences." James paused, then spoke. "This Purple Heart was awarded after I nearly died saving my unit. 3 men went home because of it." Thornton waved him off. "We all make choices, Mr. Caldwell. I chose law school. You chose the military." That night, James sat with his grandson, David, a law student home from Howard. David's fury was palpable. "It's unconstitutional," he said, slamming his laptop. "Your uniform is protected expression." James sipped tea, testing him. "The judge has authority." David shot back. "Authority, not tyranny. You're a threat to his story of power." Later, at the Veterans Cemetery, James knelt at his wife Lorraine's grave. "What would you say, Lori?" he whispered. The wind answered, "Stand your ground." The third day dawned sharp. James pinned only the Purple Heart to his jacket, a single ribbon of defiance. In court, Thornton's eyes burned. "Approach the bench," he ordered. James moved forward, cane steady. "You've disobeyed me," Thornton said. "Remove it, or you're in contempt." James's voice was calm. "This medal represents blood I shed for the Constitution. I won't dishonor it." The gavel slammed. You're fined $1,000 and removed from the jury. As the bailiff hesitated, half the courtroom stood veterans, students, strangers silent in solidarity. Thornton's face twisted. Sit down, or you're all in contempt. Slowly, they sat, but the silence roared. Outside, reporter Emily Harper caught James. Why the Purple Heart? She asked. It's not about the medal, he said. It's about right and wrong. Her article, Judge Orders Veteran to Dishonor His Sacrifice, went viral. Veterans sent paper Purple Hearts to the courthouse. VFW halls condemned Thornton. The story grew, but so did the retaliation. James's pension was under review. His daughter, Lisa, lost a promotion. David's scholarship faced scrutiny. Anonymous smears questioned James's service. Hateful slurs were spray-painted on his door, but neighbors scrubbed them clean, their quiet work a rebellion. Sarah Bennett entered, her presence electric. She filed a motion for Thornton's recusal, citing bias. Emily's reporting uncovered Thornton's ties to private prisons and jury manipulation. A clerk's audio revealed Thornton mocking James. He limps in here thinking a medal makes him holy. The nation erupted. The DOJ investigated. Veterans groups rallied. Thornton doubled James's fine, but his allies faltered. Michael Turner's case was reassigned, and he was exonerated, joining James's cause. In the hospital, his old wound flaring, James spoke. This is about whether the Constitution applies to all. A vigil formed outside veterans and medals, standing guard. Thornton's empire crumbled. His emails, orders to shred records, and prison profits were exposed. He resigned, disbarred, and indicted. The Caldwell Respect Act passed, protecting veterans' rights and mandating judicial transparency. James testified before Congress, his voice steady. Justice shouldn't depend on who you are. Thornton sent a letter, admitting his shame. James met him in a dim apartment, not to forgive, but to witness a man broken by his own hubris. At Lorraine's grave, James whispered, "We did something real." His legacy wasn't the law bearing his name, but the soldier in Kansas who wore her Purple Heart in court, seen and respected because James stood firm. Years later, James sat on his porch, tea in hand. The world was fairer, not perfect, but better. His story lived in laws, classrooms, and hearts. He'd shown that dignity, held tight, could move mountains. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you view the fight against injustice and the cost of standing up? Is it worth the personal toll? Take a stand. Let's hear your perspective.